This is REVERSECAST, the only place where tearing malware apart is a weekly hobby. Pack your debugger and dive in.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to REVERSECAST, the only podcast that we are only talk about the malwares, IPTs, adversaries in general. So actually, in our previous episode, we have a great guests from Asia, from Europe, and now we are moved into Brazil. Our guest today is Ícaro César. He's a great guy of analyzing malwares, reverse engineering. He have a wide experiences in this field. Welcome to our podcast, and please introduce yourself.
Thanks, man. My name is Ícaro. I am made in Brazil, like our friend says, and I work in a private company as a purple team, analyzing malware, reverse engineer, and producing intelligence. And I have a personal blog when I analyze some malware, some APTs, malwares, reverse engineer, detection engineer, and etc. So
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to be here.
yeah. Thank you. Same here. Your experience actually is very important to community. Actually, because we have to connect the dots around the world to make a global cyberspace in a secure way. Not in a traditional security mechanism that available nowadays, and everything is vulnerable by default. And actually, let's start with our first question. What's the most common malwares in your country that most popular and people have a problem with it? Even maybe the government too.
Yeah, here it's a lot of hamster attacks. Private companies have a really issue with that because it's a country that is not a good cybersecurity posture. So hamster groups like Lockbit, like Play, like Akira, they play around here and make a lot of impact in
Yeah,
private industry. But for normal people that is not private company, a lot of voice phishing. Myself was targeted yesterday, I think. Yes, yesterday I was targeted in a voice phishing when a guy called me and says, hey, it is your bank, you have you recognize this buying. No, but anyway,
yeah,
that's not true, but it's a lot of common here. Voice phishing to normal people that is not cybersecurity knowledge. So
yes, yes,
a lot of people is victim of these guys. But in the private industry, companies and etc., Hamster is it's a really problem. Here we have a lot of problem of Hamster incidents where web or external surface is exploited, and the objective of these
yes.
guys is take domain controller and cryptograph it.
Yeah. So actually, we know that the basic people or the simple people in most of the countries, not only your countries, that doesn't have a cybersecurity knowledge or security 101 and digital safety, but actually the big companies like a banks or maybe government sectors or maybe the media shows, entertainment companies, movies makers, of course they have a security guys. They have some kind of the cybersecurity policy and cybersecurity analyst. How they are being infected with a kind of the ransomwares like a Akira, like a Hamza, as you mentioned.
I really don't know how the teams here, the teams there is organized, but I know a lot of guys, good professionals that work in a government, in Brazil government,
Yes.
and these guys is really good. They have a good posture of cybersecurity. But always is a breach. Always
Yeah.
is a insider that is social engineering and click
Yeah.
on some phishing email, and all the
Yeah.
incident is going on because we work a lot with technology, with computers,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
in the end of the
Yeah.
day, people is the target. People is the ones that will permit that incident is going on
Yes.
in network.
I I believe that it is true. Sometimes groups will try to hire the insider thread inside a specific company or maybe a government sector, but I think that's something everyone's or every person cannot take it, cannot doing this task is. But based on my experience and talking with the experts like you, I believe the one of the main issue is initial access brokers
Yeah,
that
yeah,
yeah that actually there are no links, there are no social engineering, but they only buy a traditional in internet or in the black market, then access into this operating system. Again, it's back to if in the digital space, it's a clear nothing is secure by 100%, even the device doesn't connect it to the internet, but still we have to have some kind of a changing a password weekly or monthly, and do not using same password in a same platform, because actually it's like a spraying password spraying technique. For example, maybe in a one computers one protocol for SSH and FTP is the same password, so actually that's attacker kill one bird in two birds in one stone.
yeah,
And let's back to another way. So I think the banking Trojan is one of the most common malwares in Latin, in general.
yeah,
Actually, yeah, in my country,
yeah,
scamming is a very popular, but not by banking Trojan or downloading a malicious application or vishing something like that. It's just by someone contacted you or make a fake page, a fake jobs, and so on. But actually, how the people download this malicious application on their device, how this malware is delivered to this normal people, that's actually one of the main question in my head.
yeah. Here, I think the most of entry point to this to banking malware is phishing or clicking on malicious PDF or malicious document in their mobile phones. But here, the big problem is phishing, is voice phishing,
Yeah,
because it's a lot of convincing. The some people of your bank is calling you, saying some weird things. Well, a lot of people really believe in these guys
yeah, because they
because
have
it's a
already
lot of
have
common.
information.
Yeah, it's a lot of common. Myself is a target sometimes.
Yeah.
They know my full
I have
name.
targeted to once time.
They, they know my full name, and okay, it's some information is not right, but for normal guys, for normal people, it's a big problem because those people don't have cybersecurity culture, so
Yeah,
it's a easy target for these
yeah.
guys, you know.
And actually, that's a great point that we have to. That's one of the main goal of our podcast, to provide a security awareness to around the world is for free, and they have even the security. Maybe this podcast will be 101, and actually or maybe some level for advanced, but actually it can provide a good impact. So the this vishing campaign is external threat actor or is it internal ones? I mean, this operation is happening done by Latins threat actors or maybe external countries.
Yeah, we're talking about right now of insiders, and here in Brazil, uh, has a breach in a government because of insider.
No,
Some
I
guy
mean,
was
my question is actually, I mean, um, the scamming attack or the phishing attack, voice phishing, it's done by Latin groups or external guys from maybe from Asia.
it's from Latin groups. It's from
Uh,
Brazil, Brazilian guys.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
Portuguese like us, so it's probably is Brazilian
Yeah, but
guys.
actually, we live in AI age. They can generate fake sound. Is there are dozen of platformers can generate a sound is in many kind of the languages. So actually, what's the most cyber incident that you have faced in your experiences in your tasks? Actually, the most interesting case.
It's a good question. I can't talk a lot of details because it's on my work, but I sometimes some years ago I worked in an incident that during 1 week to resolve everything, everything.
Yeah.
Resolve the analysis,
Yeah.
the target, take all the information, analyze all the logs, all the packet capture, and etc. So it's a big incident. Here right now, I work in threat intelligence team. So the most intelligence that we use to create it's for Hamster groups because it's a big deal for all of the customers, all of
Yeah.
private companies, because everyone has afraid of some guys that encrypt your servers.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
actually, it's some kind
yeah,
of a hard. It's a hard task because actually
yeah,
once time one of the university that contacted me, because the threat actors is exploited, a old Joomla exploit and encrypted the whole servers. And all thing is I have the encrypted index.php. So finally I got a shell and it means I got access to the shell. The shell is password protected, but the password is 123. So it's a access. It's a easy to enter the shells and see what's happened actually. Um, um, there are many ways that threat actors is trying to deliver a malwares, like a phishing document, oh sorry, a
yeah.
malicious document, like a PDF, Excel, or malicious macros, or sometimes it could be executable file with some kind of extension masquerading. So in Latins, what's the most common malware file that I mean the mostly use it by of cyber campaign?
Well, here we see a lot of phishing because phishing is the way that the threat actor can enter in the
Yes.
network. But in some cases, not some cases, a lot of cases, they exploited the external infrastructure like web
Yeah, supply
servers
chain.
and
Yeah,
etc.
like
Yeah,
but actually
because it's a
yes, yes, counter, sorry.
so because the external infrastructure of the client of the companies, it's the easy way to the adversary come into the network and
Yeah.
cryptograph the Active Directory, etc. It's a very segmentation issue because when all of the servers that are external network, they must be in a segmentation network that
Yeah, yeah.
in some cases where one is exploited, they can't movement laterally to the network. But it's happened a lot of time here
Yeah.
because it's a network segmentation issue, and the adversary
And
takes this.
sometimes actually we have seen some cases that actually the company have a backup to recover the full operation, but because the backup takes a lot of time, they move to maybe pay a ransom to get a decryption software. And that's one of the main issue actually done by a company. And that's one of the issue is back to they are just care about the producing a money or I mean producing the objectives and products to the sell get the money back, and that's one of the main issue. So actually it's better to wait for 3 days or 1 weeks or even 3 weeks to get your data back, because it's actually better to pay $1 million to get your data back actually, or that's there are no guarantee that all of your data will not be sold or sell in the dark web.
Yeah,
Yeah. So actually, the this actually that's clear. Threat actors using the phishing mail in the most cases to deliver the
yeah.
malware. But actually, the malware is a malicious document or is a PowerShell or what is it? Executable file.
It's a malicious document. It's a malicious
Uh,
document. The entry point is always a malicious document because it's a normal people, some of human resources or financial sector, or something like that.
So they
It's
they click enable macro.
yeah, exactly. A good macro that evasion the EDRs and etc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But in some cases is in external infrastructure too,
Yeah.
in web servers, some port that's not to be open to the internet like RDP
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
SSH with weak password. So the enemies will exploit this
Yeah, that's
failure and will enter
actually.
the network.
I have mentioned this once with my previous guest from Northland. I believe the cybersecurity and security company security in a digital space. I mean, that's a last thing that a CEO or maybe even the entire company structure think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
one of the main
it
issues.
is.
So actually, because still in my country, not everything is connected to the internet. So still we are fine because most of our documents still on the papers. Most of them they have actually put something into the digital space actually, and I believe if something is connected to the internet, it's a vulnerable. It could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
it could be this vulnerabilities. It's not in yours. It's in the system by default because actually we have to admit that internet is not designed for security. It's designed
yeah,
for communication and make our daily tasks easier. So it's not security by
yes,
default. And actually, the one of the main issue is this protocol or this maybe software is written by human, and human make a mistake is, and the mistake is it could be in some technical way. Sometimes you write a SQL query code is MySQL. The code is works, but you don't know this code is lead to SQL injection.
yeah,
Yeah, even our programmers, not all of them, some of them maybe, they don't have a skills of secure coding, and that's one of the main point actually. So there are a great question that actually came into my mind now. What's your mindset to analyzing malwares? So actually, what's your point is when someone came, okay, Ícaro, it's a malicious document and malicious executable file, and start investigate how you extract the indicator of compromise and attribution of this campaign or malware.
that's a good question. Uh, in my personal blog, I was looking always in new malwares, like some APT campaigns, new APT campaigns. The last one that I analyzed was a Chinese APT China Nexus campaign called by SecRite company as a Dragon clone. Uh, when I will analyze some malware, I always
Yes.
look up all the kill chain. Okay,
Okay.
the malware is this executable file, but
Yes.
how it's delivered
Delivery.
to the
Yeah.
victim? It's for email phishing. It's for some another loader that load this malware in
Yeah.
memory and etc. In this case, I always look all of this kill chain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to analyze all these objects. I always separate this in objects. This is this is the first stage. This is the second
Second
stage.
stage.
This is the final stage,
Yes.
or this is a downloader that
Download another.
execute a shell code that
Yes. Yes.
downloads another malware and etc.
Yes.
The last campaign that I analyzed in my personal blog is very interesting because the infrastructure is still active. So I extract the next stage. It's a lot of this is funny because you can do a research in an APT infrastructure. It's a China Nexus, and create some tools to extract
Configs.
yeah the configs in another stage. So I will take as an example uh, the last the last campaign that I analyzed it.
Yeah.
In this campaign, Dragon Clone, they delivered email phishing. This email phishing is for a telecom, is for
Company.
China Telecom. it's a zip file that is a zip file from all binaries to a good software. It's a Wondershare software. I don't know how what Wondershare, but it's a Wondershare software. So it's a DLL, legitimate DLLs, legitimate binaries. It's all legitimate. But the China Nexus APT groups like a lot of DLL side loading.
Yeah.
So they inject they inject their loader, Valetrix loader, as a DLL that will call it from a benign Wondershare software.
Oh.
So this starts as a phishing mail with a zip file. With a zip file with name, please. This is a program of this company. You must open in, you must execute. That was the title of the benign binary. In Chinese, of course.
Yeah, actually, I have once time I have faced one cases. It's actually from one of the firmwares, and actually the threat actor is created a document how to re-update your firmware, and that's actually when you update it, it will inject your hardware device with the malwares. So that's the same scenario. Threat actors teach you how to infect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But actually, let's move to IPTs. I believe that each IPT groups, they have some kind of the notice. I mean, how we have a child processes or parent processes, and I believe that maybe the in IPT ones have maybe 3 or 5 childs, and actually, or sometimes they are all same APTs, but actually it came with the other names, and that's why actually it's some kind of attribution. And actually, when I think about attribution or profiling, I will feel that I am stuck it into between two stones, and my back and my back and my fourth is a dark side, because actually the threat actors, as clear, they can copy and
attribution is a suck, man.
It's a one of the most, I think it have to one
It's
of the terrible
terrible.
because actually you cannot have a proof it is done by this one, because actually they just, because of the Mitre framework, it's a good for blue teams, even for red team is a purple team, but threat actors adversary will gonna copy the some technique of maybe one of the organized cybercrime group. Okay, let's it. And actually, maybe the law enforcement instead put finger on the IPT group again, put finger on the cyber criminal group that they are not aware about this cyber operation.
Yeah, I think the most easy part of the attribution is you say, okay, it's that country, but the group it's very hard,
But
because
continue.
because
Sorry.
in China it's very easy, because I think they don't care about OPSEC, because all the infrastructure is hosted in China.
But actually, there are question related to the attribution of IPTs. For example, the threat actor from USA can register a domain from the China.
Yeah, of course.
So actually, this one is a debunking.
They can mimic
Yeah.
all. Yeah, it's true. Because in the last campaign that I analyzed, all pointed to the China, because the company that we're starting at, it's the major China mobile company. And we know that China has all of politic plan to inject money in cyber warfare. So it's very clever of the government to take control of the backbone of the telecommunications of your country. But of course, this group maybe is an American group that can spy
that's
all the telecommunication backbone of China.
In a cyberspace, I believe if someone have 13 years of experience of threat intelligence, still he cannot or she cannot indicate it's done by specific country, like a Vietnam, like a
Yeah.
India, like other one. Because actually, as I mentioned it, okay, I'm from maybe I'm from Iraq. I will register a domain from maybe Vietnam. So how do you know I am Vietnamese? So because actually from the who is domain or who is lookup or my IP address is back to Vietnam, it's not actually
Yeah.
a main point. And about the toolkits and the kill chain of the cyber operation, for example, maybe a specific country or specific IPT only relying on malicious document or malicious macros. So actually, I am in Iraq, do same operation, register domain in Vietnam, and set up a malicious macro with a malicious document, and use some kind of a CVEs and so on, and drop into the digital space. So what's the evidence that this attack is done by Vietnamese APTs? They are no. That's
Yeah.
one of the, because actually that's one of the worst part, and that's one of the most enjoyable ones. Actually, it's I think in analyzing a malware's attribution is more hard than TTPs, because actually again, as we mentioned, TTPs can be copied,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's true.
yeah. For
It's true.
example, threat actors using task schedule to persistent. So okay, I will change to a valid account, or maybe for example, one of the threat actor is using input captures, keylogging your keystrokes. I will use tool transfer, a legitimate tool transfer, to exfiltrate the data from your device into my infrastructure. That's one of the most hard point
Yeah.
into attribution. And actually, I believe the attribution is a key to understand why I have been targeted. What's the motive? How? When? Why?
Yeah.
What? What's their execution method? Why I am being targeted? What's their motivation? What's the intent is? But actually, if we only follow the indicator of compromise, we are just doing games cat and mouses. Because actually, instead using a DD exploit, attacker use maybe template injection or using all the exploiters. That's
Yeah.
one of the main issues.
Yeah. Attribution is very hard.
Yeah.
You have good points. I think the most easy way to get a good attribution is analyze not only the TTPs that you found in the incident. It's look of the okay, what is the objective of this threat actor of this incident? They can disrupt some service. They want to take some information. They just stay in the network to spy on us and take this objective and trying to correlate to other groups, no groups, that has the same objective, same tactical objective. I think this is the easy way to do some good attribution, because looking just for TTPs and
Yes.
take this and put in the navigator, attack navigator, you will be a wrong attribution for
Yeah.
sure.
But
I
actually,
think
yes. Yes. Continue. Sorry.
no, you can.
Okay.
You
Actually,
can.
for example, threat actors now they can use maybe a legitimate red teaming framework to creating a
Yeah,
malwares like a Covenant, Mythic,
adversarial
Sleevers.
emulation.
Yeah, actually, because Sleevers is contains agent. You can generate an agent like a Armitage, Metasploit GUI, or Cobalt Strike, or maybe the exploit pack and so on. So actually, as a security researcher or threat intelligence analyst, how you identify this payload is created by the software. For example,
It's a
like
good-
like
it's a good question.
like a PowerShell Empire, like a Daru Comment or Venom Rat, and so on.
It's a good question. It's a good question. In the last campaign that I analyzed, the SecRite says they implement a Valetrix loader that load. I forgot the
Cobalt
name of
Strike,
the framework. No, it's not Acrobat. It's VShell. It's VShell
Vishal.
framework.
Yeah.
That some time ago it's open source, but the community seems the China Nexus APTs use the VShell, and just disappear of GitHub. Okay, but how can I will attribute this to V shell? What is the patterns?
Yeah, because
So
it's not like a even logos. For example, this ID
yeah,
is specific for printer and USB.
yeah, exactly. So Cobalt Strike, for example, we can, if you have a budget, you can take some, you can buy the Cobalt Strike framework, and you can just create some payloads and analyze the patterns.
Uh huh. Yes,
Or
that's good. That's good.
Enterprise or PowerShell Enterprise. Download the PowerShell Enterprise, create some payloads, customize them, and take this that patterns that not change. Same for the other OSTs
Toolkit is yes.
uh, toolkits, because I think the our job is identify the patterns, the real patterns, the parts that's not change. Okay, for some frameworks like Cobalt Strike, like PowerShell Empire, the a good threat actor can customize
Yeah.
everything.
Even they can
So it's
customize user agent.
yeah, so it's very hard to take this customized payload and says, okay, it's a Cobalt Strike, because if they customize all the payload, you can say that. I think if you uh, is tracking the threat actor and you see evolution of the TTPs, you in the past you see, okay, it's use a normal Cobalt Strike beacon. So, and actually, in the last campaign, it's used some payload, some strange payload that cannot seems like others OSTs.
Yeah.
But if you have the historical view of the threat actors, you can say, okay, it's use Cobalt Strike, and in this campaign, maybe he is customize the beacon to evade signatures,
Yes.
simple signatures to track all this like Cobalt Strike. I think this is the a good way to attribute
Yeah.
some payloads to OSTs or malware families and etc.
Yeah, actually, because I have seen some kind of a .NET stealers and .NET samples. They have some kind of maybe 4 to 10 different user agent, custom user agent to
Yeah,
to trick analysts, because actually the user agent, that something can be manipulated, can be spoofed, not like maybe the request method. So request method cannot be tampered. But
yeah.
actually the custom user agent, it's most common ways actually from the most of the malware families they are trying to use. But actually another question is came before we will done our presentation. Most of the malwares and most of the RATs, remote access trojan, or someone say remote access tool, how someone can identify that this payload is a new version, a new variant of this, maybe a new remote access trojan or a custom malwares and so on. Because most of
It's
the
a good
ratis, yeah, actually, because most of the ratis they are close to each others.
it's a good question. It's a good question. I think if the malware developer just develop a new really new version of the malware, it's a really hard to take the new version and you say,
Yes.
okay, it's a new version of the old malware that we track. Because if all of is new, it's really hard to correlate this to the older versions. But I think the adversaries, they not, because they not develop it's just all code is new. I think it's because in the end of the day, it's all humans, and
Yeah.
we can exploit this advantage to us. In my analysis, I see a lot of new malwares like ICID is the ones of the first malwares that I analyzed, and I saw the evolution to the ICID to the Latrodectus, because Latrodectus is a new malware, but it's evolution of ICID because
Yeah.
they how can I say that? Because they use the same infrastructure, and the use of ICID is decrease, and the use of Latrodactyls by the same tridactors is increase, and they share the infrastructure. So the threat intel community says, okay,
But actually,
Latrodactys is the new ICID.
there are another way. For example, in a past, for example, 10 years ago, the ICE ID, just for example,
Yeah,
using one infrastructure, and this infrastructure is disappeared, and another group scheme set up this infrastructure again with the same style but with a different custom-sized payload. How we can attribute that it's a new version?
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's again it's a something. I think I
I
think
think these guys is just friends.
yeah.
They
So
share
actually,
the infrastructure.
the one of the most worst part in analyzing a malware or threat intelligence is attribution, and we are just doing police and robbery games, cat and mouses.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
guys, in this episode, we just say attributions are suck.
yeah,
Please
yeah,
don't
yeah.
don't waste so much time in
With the
attribution.
attribution,
And
yeah.
if you will attribute some malware to a threat actor, be careful because probably you are wrong.
Yeah, and we are in of the end of our episode. So actually, my hour and our last question. This question is for all of the guests.
Yeah.
What is your main advice for someone that desire to analyzing a malware for beginners and for advanced one? What's your advice? Advice for the community or especially for malware analysts?
Just do it. Just take some malware that you want to analyze, download either freeware or by binary ninja free, and just trying to analyze. You will struggle, of course, but if you no, I won't analyze right now. I must learn C. I must transform myself like a C engineer,
Yeah,
and when you become
assembly
a C
ones.
engineer, yeah, when you become an engineer, and no, I must learn computer networks. So I will be a network engineer, and whatever. No, just do it. Just take some hour and try to analyze. If you struggle, research.
Yeah,
Oh, how can I say that is a process injection technique? Just Google it, or
yeah,
just
yeah. So
ask
one of them,
ChatGPT.
actually, most of the people in my conferences in Europe or in Asia or in Middle East, sometimes ask this question or in the chat on my LinkedIn, how I can be able to read the patterns, blah blah, or what's the
Hmm.
prerequisites and the requirement to be a malware analyst. I have 2 pointers, even for in my slides too. That the slides is only for about malwares, not general cyber or red team stuff. Is so a basic fundamental of programming and have ability to read a code. So actually, that's a wrong object and subject. If you want to be a malware analyst, you have to be a programmer. It's a good
Yeah,
if you have a programming background, but the one of the most important point, you have to ability to read a code
yeah,
and eager
yeah.
to learn and don't give up. Maybe as you mentioned it, feeling struggles sometimes mimicked by threat actors, but actually it's experiences. No pain, no gain. And finally, thank
Exactly.
us to have. It's an honor to have you today. And if you have anything to say in the end of the episode, it's an honor to us because actually only we have maybe 30 second.
Yeah, I really appreciate you inviting me to your show.
Thank you.
It's a really good podcast because we don't have some podcasts that focus in reverse engineering, more analysis. So it's a pleasure to me
Thank you.
to get invited for your man.
Yeah. Okay. Have a nice day and respect to your great
Have a nice
country.
day.
Bye bye. Adios.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Adeus.
This is REVERSECAST, the only place where tearing malware apart is a weekly hobby. Pack your debugger and dive in.